The Dyatlov Pass Incident, Part 1. The Journey That Never Returned. In the winter of 1959, deep within the frozen Ural Mountains of the Soviet Union, a group of 9 experienced hikers set out on what should have been a routine expedition. They were young, skilled, and well-prepared for one of the harshest environments on Earth. None of them knew they were about to become part of one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. The group was led by 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, an engineering student with a reputation for careful planning and leadership. Every member had extensive hiking experience and understood the dangers of extreme winter conditions. Their goal was to reach Ural Mountain, a remote peak covered in snow and surrounded by endless forests and icy valleys. Before leaving, the hikers promised to send a telegram once they returned to civilization. Friends and family expected to hear from them within a few weeks. No one imagined that message would never arrive. As the expedition progressed, one member, Yuri, became seriously ill. Suffering from joint pain, he made the difficult decision to turn back. It was a heartbreaking choice, but it unknowingly saved his life. The remaining 9 hikers continued deeper into the mountains, disappearing into the endless white wilderness. The weather grew increasingly severe. Powerful winds carried thick snow across the landscape, reducing visibility and making navigation almost impossible. Despite the worsening conditions, the experienced team pressed forward, determined to complete their journey. On the evening of February 1st, 1959, the hikers pitched their tent on the slope of a mountain later known as Dyatlov Pass. It was the last confirmed sign that any of them were alive. Days passed, then weeks. The expected telegram never came. Concerns slowly turned into fear. Search teams were finally organized, unaware that they were about to uncover a scene so strange and disturbing that it would leave. Investigators, scientists, and historians searching for answers for decades. The mystery had only just begun. The Dyatlov Pass Incident, the terrifying discovery. When the hikers failed to return on schedule, their families grew increasingly worried. At first, everyone assumed the expedition had simply been delayed by bad weather. But as more days passed without any message, a large search operation was finally launched. Teams of volunteers, students, soldiers, and experienced rescuers entered the freezing Ural Mountains. They searched through deep snow, battling powerful winds and dangerously low temperatures. For several days, they found nothing. Then, on February 26, 1959, the searchers made a discovery that would shock the world. Half buried beneath the snow was the hiker's tent. Something was immediately wrong. The tent had not been opened from the outside. Instead, several large cuts had been made from the inside, as if the people inside had desperately slashed their way out. Personal belongings, warm clothing, boots, food, cameras, and supplies were still neatly left behind. It looked as though the hikers had fled in extreme panic, leaving behind everything they needed to survive the brutal winter. Outside the tent, investigators found footprints leading down the mountain. Surprisingly, many of the prints showed that some hikers had been barefoot or wearing only socks. Others appeared to have worn a single boot. In temperatures close to -30°C, leaving the tent without proper clothing was almost certain death. The footprints stretched toward a nearby cedar tree at the edge of a forest. There, rescuers found the first 2 bodies. The young men were dressed only in thin underwear and were lying near the remains of a small campfire. The branches of the cedar tree were broken high above the ground, suggesting someone had climbed it in desperation, perhaps trying to see the tent or escape an unknown danger. Nearby, investigators discovered the bodies of 3 more hikers scattered between the tree and the abandoned tent. Their positions suggested they had tried to return to their shelter but collapsed one by one in the freezing darkness. For members of the expedition were still missing. No one yet realized that the final discovery would make this mystery even more disturbing. The hidden truth beneath the snow. As winter slowly gave way to spring, the snow began to melt, revealing more of the mountain's secrets. Nearly 2 months after the first bodies were discovered, search teams finally found the remaining 4 hikers. They were buried beneath several meters of snow inside a nearby ravine. What investigators saw left them speechless. Unlike the first 5 victims, these hikers had suffered severe internal injuries. One had multiple broken ribs. Another had a fractured skull. Yet strangely, there were almost no visible external wounds. Medical experts later compared the force of the injuries to those seen in high-speed car crashes. One young woman, Ludmila Dubinina, was missing her tongue, while another victim had missing soft tissue around the eyes. Although later experts suggested these injuries were likely caused by natural decomposition and scavenging animals, they added another unsettling layer to the mystery. Even more puzzling, some of the victims were wearing clothes that had belonged to their friends, suggesting that after the first hikers died from the freezing cold, the survivors removed their clothing in a desperate attempt to stay alive. Then came another unexpected discovery. Tests revealed that some pieces of clothing contained traces of radioactive contamination. While the levels were limited and several possible explanations were suggested, including prior exposure through work, the finding fueled rumors that something far more mysterious had occurred. The official Soviet investigation concluded that the hikers had died because of a compelling natural force, but it never explained what that force actually was. With no clear answers, speculation spread across the Soviet Union and eventually around the world. What had frightened 9 experienced hikers so badly that they cut their way out of their own tent and ran into a deadly snowstorm, wearing almost nothing? Theories that refused to die. For more than 60 years, countless theories have attempted to explain the Dyatlov Pass incident. Some researchers believe a small avalanche may have threatened the tent. Fearing they would be buried, the hikers quickly escaped through the fabric instead of using the entrance. Later, unable to find their tent in the blizzard, they froze to death. Others argue that strong katabatic winds created terrifying low-frequency sounds known as infrasound. These sounds may have caused panic and confusion, leading the hikers to abandon their camp. Another theory points toward secret Soviet military experiments. During that period, missile testing and classified weapons research were taking place in remote regions. Witnesses even reported seeing mysterious glowing lights in the sky around the same time. However, no conclusive evidence has ever confirmed a military connection. More extraordinary ideas have also emerged over the years. Some people have suggested attacks by unknown creatures, extraterrestrials, or supernatural forces. These theories remain popular in books, documentaries, and online discussions, but there is no reliable evidence to support them. Scientists who have studied the case generally agree that the harsh environment, freezing temperatures, darkness, and difficult terrain played a major role in the tragedy. Yet many details remain impossible to explain with complete certainty. Every theory answers some questions while creating new ones. Why did the groups separate? Why did they leave without proper clothing? Why were some injuries so severe? And why did the official investigation leave so many unanswered questions? Even today, the mystery continues to fascinate investigators, historians, and millions of people around the world. Mystery that still echoes today. Decades after the tragedy, the Dyatlov Pass incident remains one of history's most famous unsolved mysteries. In recent years, researchers have re-examined old evidence using modern technology. Some scientific studies concluded that a rare type of delayed slab avalanche, combined with extreme weather and poor visibility, could explain why the hikers suddenly abandoned their tent. While this theory answers many important questions, it still cannot explain every detail with complete certainty. The mountain itself has become a place of remembrance. Every year, hikers and researchers visit the site to honor the 9 young adventurers who never returned home. What began as an ordinary winter expedition became a story known across the world. The victims were not reckless explorers. They were intelligent, experienced, and carefully trained. They prepared for the journey, respected nature, and understood the dangers of the mountains. Yet something happened during that cold February night that changed everything forever. Perhaps the greatest lesson of the Dyatlov Pass incident is a simple one. Nature can be unpredictable. Even with skill, experience, and preparation, the wilderness can present situations that humans may never fully understand. More than 6 decades later, investigators continue to debate the evidence, authors continue to write books, and filmmakers continue to search for answers. But the mountain has remained silent. Did the hikers panic because of a natural disaster? Were they caught in an event science has only recently begun to understand? Or is there still one crucial piece of the puzzle waiting to be discovered? Until undeniable evidence emerges, the Dyatlov Pass Incident will remain one of the greatest mysteries ever recorded, a chilling reminder that sometimes history keeps its darkest secrets buried beneath the snow. What do you think really happened that night? Let us know your theory in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more fascinating true mysteries.